What is happening, everyone? Welcome back to the Copyright Podcast and the Everton Preview Show. It is Mick Moran and Kristian Andersson once again, lad. Nice to have you. Nice to have you back on. Feels like we've not done one of these for a while. It took me a while to figure out what I was doing on the old StreamYard.
Yeah, it feels like I need to find my way back here. I don't know what we're doing, what we're talking about, how it works. Nothing. Like a newborn again.
But of course, it is the massive one tomorrow night against Everton. Um, yeah, it feels like because of this gap we've had with it feels like an age has passed and there's been international breaks. Like as always, international breaks is just horrific time in our lives when you have a game every 3 days and all of a sudden there's no game for like 2 weeks, and then you're like, oh my god, what am I meant to do with my life for that massive gap? But we are finally back, and of course, back in February they beat us 2-2, didn't they, at Goodison? So we've got to get revenge for that 2-2 defeat, haven't we? But yeah, it's another massive one, and I've saw a lot of stuff lately, like Anfield rap I've been watching, and them saying kind of like a few people saying like you got to kind of forget in a way or disassociate yourself from the fact that it's a derby and just think that it's another game close to the title. I think that's a good way of putting it, really. I mean, I know it's hard just to say them words and then carry them out because a derby's a derby and it always will be. There'll always be an element of feistiness and just bullshit and diving and pick for being a knobhead. All that stuff's always in there, and it always will be for as long as those two players are there. But I think if we can, the fact that it is back at Anfield, obviously we're the position that we're in, we can count ourselves to be in a very spoiled position in terms of being 12 points clear, but the job's not done, and Everton's just another barrier in a way of us getting towards our 20th league title, and that's the way to look at it. I think is let's go and put on a show. We've been the 5 days between PSG and Newcastle, obviously didn't cover ourselves in glory in the Newcastle game by any stretch, but the PSG game I thought we were good in patches, and getting beat on pens is obviously one of them things that can go either way. It's a lottery. But having the break now and everyone's hopefully refreshed coming back, and then we've got to put it right, because I think any slight negative, like say we draw, for example, which wouldn't be the worst result in the world, you know what I mean? Wouldn't be the worst result ever, although like obviously a win would be massive. Any slight negative, like you say, we did draw, for example, it just gives Arsenal a bit of like leeway. It gives them a bit like more like positive energy, and you just want to. What you want is come back 2-0 win, 3-0 win, 3-1 win in your case, or whatever. Stamp your authority on the game. Go, right, lads, we're back. We've had a break. We're ready. We're fresh and ready to go and ready to claim this 20th league title.
Yeah, and I think, after we lost the cup final against Newcastle and we went out the Champions League before that, I think the international break came in at the right point. We kind of needed that just to hopefully, everyone just change their environments and then coming back, regroup, and then go into the last stage of the season with the games now coming up until the end. And in terms of a derby, like you said, it is a derby. We know that things can happen in a derby, but I think it's a very good mindset to use, like you mentioned, that just think of it as next game, because I agree with everything you said about that with Arsenal as well. Like, we need to go in now in this game, and we play at home, and it is Everton, but to just go out and actually do the proper job and make sure that we keep the distance against Arsenal, because obviously they play tonight when we record this, and we don't know what the outcome will be there. Fulham might help us a bit, who knows? But the thing is, I want us to keep on making sure that they see that we just grab the points that we need, especially at home, and keep the distance and make them feel like it's going to be an impossible job to try to climb the mountain and catch us, because they're going to play the Champions League as well, obviously against Real Madrid twice in the near future. And I think, they have to obviously put their powers into them two games, because that's an opportunity for them, even if it's a tough
Mm.
opponent. I think, for us to just show them that this is going to be tough for you. We're not going to let anything slip, and, we're just going to create those moments for ourselves. I think it's so important. I talked to my brother about this. That, like you said, if we draw, it's not the end of the world, but it's like it gives them a little bit of hope, a little bit of shining at the end, thinking there's something there. What could happen? So I think it's so important to use. We look at this at one game, go out, do the job, grab the 3 points at home, and go for game by game, especially the games that comes up now in a very quick pace. But to just get that start after this international break, if you like to say like that, and get the good start for the last period of the season. So I'm really looking forward to it, but I just want us to go out and do the job properly. That's all I expect from them.
Yeah, and like we were saying, like a draw wouldn't be the worst result in the world. I still think I would be with me, like straight after the match head on, I'd be absolutely livid. But then, like, it's more about like just making sure that we have a break, come back, and just hit the pedal straight away. Put your foot straight down. Get a win by any means, even if it's hopefully it's not like a nervous 1-0, but any win will do at the end of the day, just to make sure that we get them 3 points, because their maximum that they can get is 85, isn't it? So we need 5 wins and a draw technically. But like you said, if Fulham they play Fulham tonight, so I mean we don't want to have to rely on teams like that. But if they're playing ahead of us, the pressure's on them in a little way to go, well, we need to win this, otherwise if we draw that, then that maximum comes like 2 points closer, then we're 2 points closer to the title. So there's all those things coming into it, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's so important to now when we had this international break and we're coming back and we play at home the first game. I see obviously this as the last period of the season where we will only play Premier League games because there's no games left for us, obviously. So game by game, but it's like to start off with a great performance that can set the rhythm for the next games coming up, because it's going to be a few difficult away games. And yes, we have only lost one in the league, but when we know that we need to do the job, because we'll see what Arsenal do, but at the end of the day, we just need to do the job ourselves. And to start with a great performance, a win, and set the rhythm for the next coming games would be great. Because if we have a really bad game and it goes to shit, to be honest, if we draw or even worse, lose or whatever, it kind of sets the mindset for what's coming next. And I want us to go forward with a great performance in our backs, and to get our chest pumped up with confidence and feel that yes, that was that, and now we now go for the next one. Because to win at home also allow us to drop points away a little bit further down the road, I think, in my opinion, because I don't think Arsenal will go clear all that. They won't win all their games, but to make sure that we at least win our home games, then it gives a bit of, we could draw away against Chelsea, for example, or that kind of game, and it won't hurt that much because it's another great point. But we need to make sure to do the job at home, and to start off with that will be so important for us.
Yeah, massively. And yeah, Slot's press conference was today, and he was talking a bit about Trent. Of course, he got asked, like, as though Slot was going to go, oh yeah, by the way, lads, he is leaving. Like, yeah, you've all cracked me. You've all cracked the code finally. He obviously didn't say anything in terms of like responding to those type of stuff. But what he did say is Conor Bradley, who's, if Trent does go, he's going to be the replacement, and we're all so excited about like what Conor Bradley can bring. Even when we've had Trent full time, we've always been excited about what Conor Bradley can bring to the team. It's just the injury stuff maybe that has held him back in the past. But Slot did say today that he's had 2 or 3 sessions, so he could be back in the squad, and I think that's such a big boost, especially when like you've just said as well, like there's only Premier League games now, so there's not going to be that game every like 3-4 days in the same way that it has been. So, like, for example, like Conor Bradley will be easier for him to ease him back in to be playing like 1 game a week, where he's like, he can have those 6 days to rest and then come back in again and do another job for us. So that type of thing is massive. Obviously, we would love to still be in the other competitions, of course, but in the Champions League, obviously, but it's one of them, innit? Like, the way we went out was a bit shit, but you just have to crack on and put all your eggs in the basket, the Premier League, which currently that basket's looking very, very full of good stuff, and we just keep adding to it. But yeah, might just go straight to team prediction then, because I mentioned Conor Bradley could be back. I don't know, just the kind of the way Slot was talking about it, it sounded to me like he probably won't risk him, just because it was a repetitive injury as well, like something that he picked up previously. So he probably won't want to take a chance with him, but he might come off the bench. But what are you thinking? team-wise?
Well, I think obviously we'll see with the right back situation. We know that obviously Trent is out, Bradley's coming back. Are we, depending on everything, are we, would we risk him? Because the thing is, even if he's cleared to be fit, it might be a little bit too early, and hopefully they don't do that. But it could come back and bite him. That something's happening to him again, which would be devastating because we need him third run. So it could be obviously with Kwanzaa going out to the right, because I guess obviously Joe Gomez also out injured, so we don't really have many options there. People could talk about maybe Curtis Jones doing a job there and stuff. I think at home it could be an option to try something like that and see what kind of role that would be, because obviously with technical skills and ability on the ball, but it's just a defensive question that you have to ask. Everyone says it about Trent anyway, but obviously he's used to play there and has another different kind of creative way of playing there. But it's more of if we could risk someone with a little bit more creativity to actually make sure to get the ball forward from that kind of position in a different way than we are used to. But also want to make sure that we are somehow safe defensively, and then we have to obviously rely on the players from midfield and the offensive players to do the job anyway. So I just had a feeling that we probably go a little bit more stable with Kwanzaa to the right, just to have someone with a little bit of more physicality and stuff like that. And then obviously Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, I think, Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Salah. I think feels like Diaz coming back from a good international break with a few goals. I think maybe just because of him hitting a bit of form, maybe play him then, and obviously up front, it's hard to tell at the moment. But I think that Arne would go with Jota. But to be honest, against Everton, I would prefer someone like Nunez. I would like someone with a little bit of physicality, but at home playing our game. I think that will be the team, and then we see with the right back and the up front position. What about your predictions?
Yeah, I think similar. I think again, what like you said with Kwanzaa, but I think even just like defending set pieces as well, because he is like over 6 foot, so he'll help in that regard in terms of just heading stuff away, because that's what they're going to do. Any free kick, even like in their own half.
Sorry to interrupt, but that's what I thought with Nunez as well, because he's very good at actually defending corners and stuff. So that's what I'm thinking. We need someone with a bit of physicality, because Everton is dangerous on that kind of set pieces and stuff like that. So it's a good shout from you there with Kwanzaa, because even though we like to have the creative players, we also need to make sure that we are well in defending against their corners and free kicks and stuff. So yeah, good shout.
Just like, because we know Pickford's 70 yards away, if they get a foul even like halfway into their own half, he's just going to go, get forward, lads, I'll pump this into better, or like send out Tarkovsky, send all the meatheads forward and just like battle it out, which that's what they've always done, so they're going to keep doing it, aren't they? I don't know where we're up to with Gakpo though. Like Gakpo, like obviously came back, and I think he's played a few minutes for Holland, hasn't he, as well? So I would like to be honest, I'd like to see Gakpo starting, because I think just for me, like in terms of like what Jota's been doing, what Nunez has been doing, I think over Jota, Nunez and Diaz, I think I'd be more inclined just to put Diaz in there as a striker role, and then put Gakpo over on the left, because then even still, like Gakpo's 6'4", so he's not like prolific in the air for someone of his size should be, but he's tall enough that he can still like be a threat in both boxes, like clear stuff, and also get on the end of stuff off our own corners as well. And obviously we know how good he is, like cutting in and creating stuff. So if Gakpo's back fit and he's back ready to go, obviously having minutes for Holland as well, then I think him coming back in makes the most sense to me, only because he was one of our best players before he got the injury. So, and we need him to be back on his A game for these remaining games that we've got, because the goals that he was providing and the assists and stuff, he was up there as one of our best players before that injury. So if we can get it back into a similar kind of vein of form that he was in previously, then we've got an even better chance of getting this number 20 over the line even quicker. So I think that's another idea. But then again, there's option, like you said, there's plenty of options on there that we can select from, isn't there?
Yeah, and it depends on how sort of things. So this, depends on Everton playing as well and the tactics. But like you said, it probably go long and try to like last time they tried to just win the second ball and stuff like that. But I understand what you mean with Gakpo, and I think he's someone that is a little bit more clever as a football player than Diaz, I would say. It is a difficult one. It depends on how you want to try to make the game yours in one way, because I'm thinking, Gakpo is someone who could come in and provide a threat with the way that he's very clever. Like you said, he cuts on the inside, he has a great shot and everything. And then use Diaz with his energy when we hopefully made him a little bit tired, or the other way around. You use Diaz first with his energy to make them tired, and you get someone that is a little bit clever on the ball, like Gakpo, to come in and do a bit of different job maybe, because we got the options there, and they are different players and they can do different jobs, but it also depends on the way that the game is going and where we are and what the result is at that moment, that we might make a change. But I like that we got the options. But the thing is with Gakpo, I like him because he's clever. He's a little bit like Jota, even though Jota hasn't been in form lately. But we know that they have football brains, and think a little bit more. Whereas Diaz goes more with the flow, I would say. He just goes in intention. But the thing is, I think with Diaz as well. Now he scored for Colombia, obviously, but I think sometimes the end product from him hasn't been great lately, and not much is happening. Like he's getting the ball, he drives forward, but it always comes back to a midfielder, or it goes, back to the defenders with a pass or whatever. I don't say that is wrong, but it feels like it's happened loads instead of beating his man, or even, coming in to do something that is dangerous. Obviously, I know he'd done that when he assisted Darwin to score against Southampton. All that. I want to see more of that from him, when he beats his man, coming from the side and actually puts a ball into the area where it's dangerous and someone can pick it up or go for a shot straight away or whatever. But I think that we haven't seen that from him lately. So, yeah, Gakpo could be an option for start, and then Diaz could be someone who comes in for a change if it's needed.
I think we just need to, as well, like we mentioned before we started recording, about Everton being decent, like they've unbeaten streak of 9, I think, going into this game. So there's a little bit of that as well, where like they're, I wouldn't say amazing form, like, because it's still like unbeaten, still like one of them. It's good to be unbeaten, but they haven't won every game. Do you know what I mean? They drew with West Ham last game, so that's not amazing, really, is it? Like drawing their own with West Ham, and it was what was it, 91st minute equaliser, wasn't it, from the big grok at the back, Jake O'Brien, like 6'6", big. That's
fella. What they do, the bastards.
That's what I mean. So like but we need to maybe have that in our mind as well. Like they're on a like decent streak for them, I guess, but also just to turn up, and from minute one we need to be on it. Like we can't be messing around, like turn up and like giving them impetus early doors. We're back at Anfield. We've got the biggest prize to play for. Like the quicker we get this over the line, the quicker we can start to celebrate and milk it for all it's worth, especially after the COVID season where we didn't get to celebrate. So we want to maximise that time where we will be Premier League champions. So the earlier we can do it, obviously the better. And obviously that still might be, if Arsenal win every game, and it's going to be five, 6 games till we get to there. But the quicker we get there, we're better. And this is just another obstacle, like I said earlier on, just another obstacle for us to get there. But have in mind that they're going to be up for it, because they're going to want to put a dint in the ship, as it were, and all that stuff. Like try and put a spanner in the works, like they always try to do, because that's all they've got. That's all they've got to play for. That they just want to try and fuck us up, because we know that over past seasons, where like when we've not been so great and Man United come to town and we go, yeah, let's just derail their season as much as we can. Let's try and beat them and like fuck their title challenge up. And when that's all you've got. You just have to put all your energy into that. Just the way it is. So we know that's what they're going to provide. But they have got some decent players, and like Beto is a big lump, isn't he? He's up there with some like Kanate and Van Dijk are going to have to be on it, like just heading stuff away. We know like set pieces, like we mentioned, corners, anything near the box, it's just going to be pumped in, and we need to be ready for that onslaught. But also know that we've got some of the best players in the world up the other end of the field, and we need to use them to our advantage. And I think if we get a goal early, like we always say, early goal is always the key. I think if we get an early one, first 15, 20, I'll be so confident just to build on that. But I'm just excited for Liverpool to be back, because it feels like it's been such a massive gap. We went through that period where there was so many games, and it's sometimes hard to like get your thoughts straight, if you know what I mean, after every game, because you're like, right, I'm thinking about this game we've just won or whatever, but now I'm thinking about tomorrow because there's another game, and it's sometimes
Yeah.
hard, like just think about like a period of time. You can only usually do it at the end of the season when all the games have been played, but there's been like a period now where we've had a chance to like think about stuff, and like obviously stuff's happened, and time's gone on, and obviously trend stuff and all that, so you can enjoy the goals that have happened so far, and you can see how good we've done so far, and you can see all the good, decent goals and all that stuff, and you can remind yourself how good we've been. But we need to like come back and go, right, this is why we're the best team in the league, and go and cement it, and starting tomorrow night at Anfield. It's gonna be absolutely electric. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
But what are you thinking then? Like score predictions? I think you're going for the old faithful, aren't you?
Yeah, and I just want to point out as well, I don't really like to use it, but it's important to point out, I think, because people said against Newcastle and the way we lost, obviously we were really, really bad, but people said that they wanted it more because obviously they were in a cup final, they haven't won trophy for 70 years or whatever, and they just wanted it so bad. I think this is where we should be, that team that want this so bad, because yes, we won the Premier League 5 years ago, but it was the COVID season. It doesn't take away the win. It just took away the way, like you said, we couldn't celebrate the way that we wanted to. So that's why the supporters want it so much. And I think that's why the most of the players that are left in that squad and still here playing for the team want it that much. But I just think, to go into this game now, and it's going to be electric and everything. But I'm just thinking, all the games now, this is where I want us to be the team that want this more. And that's where you put your energy in, just like Newcastle did against us, without taking anything away from what they've done or how they played or whatever. But it's just like when you see those performances from teams, when you see that every run, tackle, and, winning the second ball or clear a corner or whatever, when it means a lot for the team, and you get energy from that. It's just something that you build on. And that's what I want to see from Liverpool now when we go into this game. Because if you can't show that you want to win this Premier League title when you're in this great position that we are more, then something is wrong, I would say. Like we said before, there's no other games now. This is the only games we can focus on weekend by weekend. Or like now against Everton, it's obviously midweek game, but you understand what I mean. So I just want to see that mindset that we want this more now, because that's our turn to do that and show supporters and every other team that this is our time. And I want us to go in with that belief and that kind of mindset. And yes, to go back to what you said, the score prediction, I go with my 3-1. I felt for a 3-0 first, but I just, like you said, they are quite physical. They are a team that could score from corners or from free kicks and stuff. So I'm a little bit scared that we might just slip up with one. But I trust the lads. So if they do the job right and they go in there and just run loads and with energy and get on them from the start, we score at least 3. So 3-1.
Well, I've gone for 3-0. So I think I'll put that in the group chat, so I can't go back from that. But like I said, it's going to be absolutely, like you said, it's going to be magic. It's going to be magical atmosphere, hopefully. And hopefully a magic game where we can, just batter them. Like just literally show up and show the intensity that we've shown all season, that we showed in the PSG game, where we were fighting for everything and putting tackles in and making stuff happen and creating chances. If we do like with anything we've done for the rest of the season against these tomorrow night, we'll beat them. And it's, like I said, it's not just beating Everton. That's part of it. It's getting another step to close to the league title. That's the thing we've wanted. And obviously the COVID season, or the end of the COVID season, where COVID kicked off and fucked it all up for us, and we didn't get the parade. That's kind of just stifled, and it's been bubbling ever since. And obviously we've been close a couple of times. So now that was so close to it, like that explosion of excitement and energy that's gonna like be around the city is just gonna be fucking amazing. So we need to make sure we get close as possible to that as quick as we can, just so we can savour it. But bring on tomorrow night. Obviously, I'll be watching tonight against Fulham just to see if Probably turn it on and Fulham Arsenal score after 5 minutes, and I'll be like, yeah, fuck that, switch back off again. But
we'll let what's his name now? Harry Wilson do the job. I don't know if he's playing or not, but I just hope that he can just run through, score a goal or a free kick, because he's quite good at them, and just be like, yes, come on. So
yeah, that'd be a dream if it was a former Liverpool player. Like, to be fair, wouldn't it? That'd be boss.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would leave it there then. Nice one as always for jumping on. That was the Everton preview and prediction show. Obviously both predicting a Liverpool win. Let's hope the Reds can go and do it tomorrow night. It's going to be absolutely massive. But yeah, nice one, Kristian, for jumping on. Nice one, everyone, for watching or listening, and we'll see you all very soon. Ta-ra.